Welcome to the Valmika Property Investing Podcast. I'm JP, your host and the founder of Valmika Buyers Agency. With my background in investment banking, I'm here to share Wall Street tips and secrets for building a top 4% property portfolio. Let's dive into the world of property investment together. Welcome to another episode. This episode we are titling Diversifying Your Portfolio, and this is going to cover strategies for conquering both residential and commercial property. So at Valmika, we like to design property portfolios for our clients and to design a safe, effective portfolio for good capital growth combined with good cash flow. We like to diversify the assets that we design for our clients. So what we do is we throw in a mix of both residential and commercial property. So in this podcast, I'm going to speak to you about the power of this diversification. I'm also going to give you a few statistics in action on how many Australians actually use this diversification or have the idea of using it. Then we're going to go into crafting your diversification strategy, give you a few examples around it, and then we will speak about the financing of your diversification journey, and then lastly, building your investment team. So let's get straight into it. So the power of diversification. Well, let's face it, the property market can be a fickle beast. So what goes up doesn't always stay up. And this is a classic example in the 2008 financial crisis. Australia was a bit lucky. We didn't suffer the losses that American property investors did. But the American property example is a good example of what can happen, especially if you're not diversified. So what happened there was economic downturns had a disproportionate effect on specific sectors. So with diversification, it's all about not putting your eggs in one basket. So you strategically include both residential and commercial properties in your property. And what this does is it allows you to mitigate the risk. So imagine a scenario where a recession hits. While residential vacancy rates might rise slightly, commercial property vacancies could surge due to the business closures. So diversification helps spread this risk, potentially smoothing out your returns over time. Diversification also allows you to target multiple goals. So what do I mean by this? You could be seeking a steady stream of rental income to fuel your potential retirement, or perhaps you want long-term capital appreciation is your priority. The beauty in diversification is that you are able to use both residential and commercial properties to cater to different goals. So a diversified portfolio always allows you to target both, creating a more holistic investment strategy. What diversification does, it also gives you exposure to different markets. So residential and commercial markets have distinct dynamics. Residential properties are often influenced by factors like population growth and interest rates, while commercial markets might be swayed by business confidence and job markets. The diversification gives you exposure to both, and this potentially captures growth opportunities across the entire property spectrum. And this is what we value when we put together these investment property portfolios. So let's give you some statistics in action. A recent study revealed that over 60% of Australian property investors embrace diversification, holding a mix of residential and commercial assets in their portfolio. So there is a clear sign that investors recognize the power of spreading their bets across different property sectors. How do you craft this diversification strategies? So the best thing to do is start small and scale up smartly. So don't feel pressure to jump into the deep end. So perhaps you already own a residential property and you understand it well. That's a fantastic starting point. As you gain your knowledge and you accumulate capital, consider adding a commercial property to the mix. This will allow you to test the waters and build confidence before scaling up your diversification efforts. Secondly, align your investment goals with the property type. Remember, residential and commercial properties offer different benefits. Typically, residential properties provide a steady stream of rental income, making them ideal for income-focused investors. On the other hand, commercial properties might offer high potential for capital appreciation, appealing to invest with a long-term outlook. So understanding your goals and aligning them with the right property type is crucial for a successful diversification strategy. All right, so let's give some examples. So recently we had a client of ours by the name of Sarah, and she's an investor that was seeking a reliable income stream to supplement her salary. So she already owned a well-located apartment and it generated consistent rental income for her. So to diversify her portfolio and explore capital growth potential, we advised her to consider acquiring a small retail space in a growing suburb. It was a great location, had great foot traffic. The foot traffic complemented the tenants that were in the area. And what it allowed her to do was start replacing her income and give her a steady income stream while also having the potential for long-term value appreciation from the commercial property. So this mix actually complemented her portfolio well. Another example. So we had a client by the name of David, and he was a young professional and he had a high risk tolerance and he had accumulated a significant amount of capital. Now he took the view that after COVID, we had this huge decline in commercial office buildings where people were not coming back and taking up the office space because of the work from home dynamic. And he took the view that office space had taken the knock, so to speak. So they were reaching the bottom of the market by valuation. Just to let you know, commercial office space, there's an average of 14% vacancy rates. And because of this, there are great deals to be had because of this high vacancy and the high risk attached to it. So if the view is that the office valuations have reached the bottom because of this high vacancies and the trend is for people to move back into offices, which we do feel is starting to take place, then now's a prime opportunity to acquire these cheap assets. And you can seek strong capital appreciation potential if you're correct in timing the market. But even though we acquired this asset for him, we wanted him to hedge his bets and ensure some ongoing income. So he chose to retain his residential investment property, which we were very happy that he had took our advice on this. And what this did was it allowed him to pursue that high growth opportunity in the office space market and the commercial sector, but also maintaining a safety net with residential property. So this is a classic example of how you can combine the two. Let's move on to the next topic under this, and this is financing your diversification journey. It's important to remember that financing options differ between residential and commercial properties, and this is what you need to consider. So first of all, the loan products. Residential loans are typically a lower interest rate and have lower deposit requirements compared to commercial loans. This is primarily because residential property is seen as less risk than commercial. It's not to say the commercial property is more risky. It's just to say that it's more influenced by economic cycles, more so than residential property. So there's this extra element of risk, which is why we diversify with residential. Commercial property allows you the benefit of replacing your income and having great capital appreciation on top of it. Over time in Australia, residential property is averaged around 10%, commercial is averaged 11%. if you choose the right assets. So it is a very good option for your investment property portfolio. So our advice is to research the different loan products available for each property type. Ensure you understand the terms and conditions before committing. Secondly, there's also government incentives. So for those starting their residential property journey, for example, don't forget to explore government grants and first home buyer incentives that can significantly increase or ease that entry barrier, so to speak. And lastly, important thing to consider is to build your investment team. Remember, you don't have to go it alone. In fact, we discourage you from going it alone. Make sure that you build a team of trusted professionals to support your diversification strategy, and especially with property management. So for commercial properties, consider partnering with a reputable property management firm. This can free up your time, ensure the property is well maintained, and potentially maximize your returns. Keep in mind, if you need the advice of a buyer's agent, they live and breathe this stuff every day. It will be well worthwhile and save you a lot of money in the long term by just going with them. Seek their advice, seek free advice, see who you think is reputable in the market. And they can acquire the right property for you and set you on the right path and leapfrog you to that investment goals that you have. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Valmika Property Investing Podcast. If you're interested in our services, please visit us at valmikaproperty.com. Remember, the content shared in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. For personalized financial advice, always consult your trusted financial advisor or professional. See you in the next episode.